The black ocean of space was calm that day, silent and endless. Stars burned far away like tiny eyes watching everything that ever lived. In that silence moved a fleet of ships, sharp and silver, flying under the flag of the Zerath Dominion. They were conquerors of 1,000 worlds. No enemy had stood against them in centuries. At the head of the fleet stood Admiral Vorak, tall, scaled, and proud. His red eyes glowed as he stared at the holographic map before him. One small sector blinked in gray, uncharted and unclaimed. The system humans once called Sol. Empty, said his first officer. No defense grids. No signals. No life. Vorak's lips curved in a cruel smile. So the stories were true. The Terrans are gone. Laughter filled the bridge. To them, the humans were only a legend. Primitive creatures who had burned themselves out long ago. The Council had warned the Dominion not to enter Terran space. They called it cursed. Ships that went there vanished. But Vorak was not a man who feared old ghost tales. He was a man who wanted glory. Prepare the fleet, he ordered. We will take the Terran worlds. Even dead, their system will serve the Dominion. The fleet cut through the dark like knives through water. Dozens of cruisers and carriers drifted past the orbit of the outer planets. Strange metallic fragments floated in the void, remnants of satellites and ancient war debris. Sensors picked up faint signals. Tiny energy bursts, static whispers. Old distress beacons, said the officer. Nothing functional. Vorak waved his hand. Ignore them. Continue toward the third planet. As the fleet neared the moon of the blue world called Earth, the silence grew heavier. Even the hum of their own engines felt loud. Vorak stood before the viewport gazing at the pale planet. Beautiful, he muttered. A pity no one is left to defend it. But far below, something heard them. Beneath the gray dust of the moon lay metal, deep chambers carved by hands long forgotten. Inside those chambers, red lights blinked to life one by one. A long-sleeping machine stirred. Erebus, the Terran defense AI, had waited in darkness for almost 500 years. Its last order: if they come again, wake me. A cold, emotionless voice filled the silent tunnels. Unauthorized entry detected. Origin Zerath Dominion. Activation code Omega. Hydraulic systems groaned as old steel moved for the first time in centuries. Massive silos opened quietly, scattering moon dust into space. Hidden weapons rose like black towers. The Dominion fleet did not notice at first. Their scanners read the surface as lifeless rock. Then one small scout ship disappeared from their formation. Admiral, a voice crackled through the comms. Scout 17 has gone dark. Probably hit a rock, Vorak replied. But deep inside, something uneasy twisted in his chest. He looked again at the moon. Still quiet, still dead. On the far side of the moon, Erebus whispered to other systems buried across the solar system. Protocol chain engaged, waking defensive network. All across the forgotten human colonies, Mars, Titan, Europa, ancient machines came alive. Satellites long thought dead realigned their lenses toward Earth. Vorak's fleet continued unaware. The alien soldiers celebrated early victory, already planning how to divide the Terran system. But on the bridge of the flagship Zerath Pride, one junior technician frowned at her monitor. Admiral, she said carefully, I'm reading something strange. Energy spikes from the lunar surface, Vorak growled. Weapons test from our own ships? No, sir, it's coming from under the ground. Before Vorak could answer, the holographic map flashed red. Every system alarm screamed. Dozens of unknown signatures appeared across the solar system. And then a voice echoed through every channel. Calm, human, and ancient. Attention, unidentified vessels. You have entered Terran defense space. This is an automated warning. Withdraw immediately. The bridge fell silent. The aliens stared at each other in disbelief. Who is transmitting? Vorak demanded. No source detected, the officer replied. It's everywhere. The voice spoke again, colder this time. You have 30 seconds to comply. Vorak laughed. Empty threats. Destroy the source. His ships fired toward the moon. Their plasma blasts hit the surface, sending up clouds of dust. And then the dust glowed. Blue fire erupted from the moon's surface. Dozens of rail cannons hidden beneath the crust powered up and fired at once. One of the Dominion's destroyers exploded instantly, ripped apart by a beam of pure kinetic energy. Evasive action. Vorak roared, but it was too late. Another blast cut through a cruiser, tearing it in half. Panic spread across the fleet. What is happening? Where are they firing from? Everywhere, Admiral, everywhere! In the heart of the Terran system, Erebus continued its cold work. Its data streams reached far beyond the moon, unlocking silos on Mars, waking orbiting drones near Jupiter, and calling something vast hidden beyond the asteroid belt. As the Dominion ship scattered, Vorak's second officer turned pale. "Sir, we thought this system was dead." Vorak's claws gripped the edge of the console. His voice came low, trembling. "It isn't dead," he said. "It's waiting." Behind the moon, unseen by alien eyes, a colossal shadow moved, something larger than any ship ever built. Its hull reflected no light. Its engines burned with silent white fire. On the surface of Earth, deep beneath old continents, alarms began to ring. Human eyes opened for the first time in centuries. A voice, human, weary but strong, spoke from the command bunker buried under the ruins. "This is Terran Command. Identify the threat. Zerath Dominion fleet detected. Engaged by automated defense grid." "Good," said the commander softly. "Wake the fleet. It's time." Above the moon, the stars flickered as the first human warship in centuries rose from the dark, and for the first time in 1,000 years. Terran space was no longer silent. Admiral Vorak stood frozen on the bridge of his flagship. The space outside his viewport was chaos. Fire, wreckage, and drifting metal filled the black sky where his proud formation once stood. Half of his fleet was gone in minutes, destroyed by weapons that should not even exist. No ship had ever seen such power. No enemy had ever struck with such precision. Vorak's voice broke the silence. "Status!" His officers scrambled to respond. "We've lost 19 destroyers, 12 cruisers, and the dreadnought Solar Fang. No visible attackers, Admiral. The moon itself is firing at us." Vorak's scaled hand slammed against the control table. "Impossible. Rocks cannot shoot ships." But deep inside, fear crept into his bones. On the dark side of the moon, vast towers of metal slowly rotated, glowing with blue-white light. They were ancient Terran cannons, each the size of a city, awakening one after another like the heartbeat of a sleeping god. From their cores came a low hum that grew louder with every passing second. The hum became a roar. The roar became thunder, and then another shot. A brilliant beam tore through the void, vaporizing 3 alien ships instantly. The shockwave rippled across the fleet, shaking every hull and throwing crew members to the floor. "Retreat," shouted one of the commanders. "We can't fight what we can't see." Vorak glared at him. "Cowards die first. Hold your line." But even as he spoke, the stars began to move. Or so it seemed. From behind the shadows of the asteroids, ships emerged, black, silent, and terrifying. No lights. No energy trails. No communication signals. Only dark shapes gliding through the void like predators. Their hulls bore a single symbol, an old Earth insignia, a blue planet surrounded by 13 stars. "Identify them," Vorak barked. His officer's voice trembled. "Sir, they match no current galactic record." "Then who—" Before he could finish, a voice filled every ship's comm channel. It was deep, calm, and unmistakably human. "This is Terran Command. You have entered restricted space. Leave now or face annihilation." The bridge went silent. Even the hum of the engine seemed to die. Vorak bared his teeth. They dare to threaten the Dominion? He turned to his fleet. "All ships, open fire." Hundreds of plasma bolts streaked through the void toward the dark Terran vessels. The shots passed through empty space, no explosions, no damage. The Terran ships shimmered and vanished, leaving only echoes in the scanners. Where did they go?" shouted an officer. Then came the answer. Behind the Dominion fleet, silent missiles appeared out of nowhere, each moving faster than light could blink. The first wave hit. A massive explosion tore through 3 Dominion carriers. Another missile struck a dreadnought, splitting it in 2. The sky lit up in 1,000 suns. Terran warships moved through the chaos like ghosts. They didn't communicate. They didn't boast. They simply destroyed, efficiently, perfectly, without emotion. Inside one of the Terran vessels, a human commander stood before a cold holographic map. His name was Commander Reyes. His voice was steady, almost detached. "Target clusters Alpha through Delta neutralized. Proceed to Phase 2. "Understood," replied the AI beside him. "Deploying rail lattice grid." Across space, thousands of microsatellites activated, forming a glowing net of energy. Every alien ship that tried to flee found its engines dead. The Dominion fleet was trapped. Vorak stared at his flickering screens in disbelief. How can they jam everything? His technician whispered, "It's not jamming, sir. They're rewriting our systems in real time. Terran AI code, ancient, powerful, and merciless, slipped into the Dominion's computers like a living virus. One by one, alien ships lost control of their own weapons. Some turned on each other. Panic spread. Admiral, the Seraph Dawn is firing on our own fleet." "What? Shut it down." "I can't. The system is locked out." On the Terran flagship, Reyes watched silently. His eyes were cold. "Centuries of hiding," he murmured, "and they still haven't learned." The AI responded, voice smooth and metallic. "Shall we broadcast the message?" "Yes. Let them know who we are." Across every surviving Dominion ship, the transmission played. "You wanted to see Terran space. Now you have. You thought us extinct. You were wrong." Vorak slammed his fists against the console. "They mock us. Fire everything. All weapons." The fleet obeyed. Plasma fire filled the void. For a moment it looked as if the stars themselves were burning. But when the light faded, the Terran fleet was gone again. Only their shadows remained, moving faster than thought. Then from behind Jupiter's shadow, something massive appeared. A ship so huge that even Vorak's flagship seemed like an insect beside it. Its hull was covered in black armor, its engines glowing with quiet fury. The name on its side burned bright in blue letters. TSS Nemesis. Vorak whispered the words under his breath. "Nemesis?" The sensors screamed. The ship's energy readings broke every scale. Then a new voice spoke, a human voice filled with calm authority. "This is Admiral Stone of the Terran Defense Fleet. You have trespassed into our home. You will not leave alive." Before the aliens could react, the Nemesis opened fire. No bright beams, no explosions, just silence, followed by total destruction. A single pulse left the ship, invisible and soundless. When it hit the Dominion's forward line, 20 ships simply disintegrated, turned into dust drifting through the void. Vorak fell to his knees. His empire's greatest armada was being erased like smoke in the wind. All around him, the galaxy's most feared warriors screamed, realizing too late that Terran space was never defenseless. The humans had waited. They had prepared. And now, they were unleashing their true power. As the Nemesis advanced through the burning wreckage, the human admiral gave a final order. No mercy for invaders. The first strike begins. And with that command, the war for Terran space truly began. Space burned. The wreckage of the Zereth Dominion fleet drifted across the black sky like glowing ash, hundreds of ships gone, thousands of soldiers erased in silence. But Admiral Vorak's command ship still lived, surrounded by the dying echoes of battle. The human warship TSS Nemesis floated before him like a shadow made of steel and nightmares. It did not move fast. It did not need to. Every movement it made felt deliberate, unstoppable, like a predator circling its prey. Vorak gritted his teeth. "We cannot lose to ghosts. Send all remaining ships to attack." His officers hesitated. None wanted to face the human dreadnought again. Its weapons were beyond anything known. Still they obeyed. 20 ships advanced. The Nemesis did not fire. It only watched. And then every attacking ship stopped. Engines froze mid-burn. "Power died. Admiral, we've lost all control," one alien cried. Vorak's eyes widened. "How?" "Their signal. It's inside our ships. They're controlling us." On the Terran command deck, Admiral Stone stood with his arms behind his back, staring at the holographic map. Red dots on enemy ships flickered one by one, then vanished. "They are trying to flee," said the AI beside him, its voice calm and cold. "No," Stone replied. "They are trying to understand. Let them watch what real war looks like." He turned toward his communications officer. "Signal the Ghost Fleet, full activation." The officer hesitated. "Sir, they haven't been used since the Exodus War." Stone's voice didn't change. "Neither have we." Far across the solar system, hidden deep beyond Neptune, black gates opened. From the shadows of dark space, the Ghost Fleet awakened. They were ships without crew, controlled only by ancient Terran AIs. They carried no light, no sound, no mercy. Each hull was made from materials unknown to the rest of the galaxy. Black alloys that absorbed radar, sensors, and hope itself. Thousands of these vessels emerged silently, Their engines cold, their weapons alive. They had been built when humanity faced extinction long ago, and they had waited, sleeping, watching, for this day. The galaxy's communication networks lit up with emergency reports. Civilizations from 100 worlds watched the transmissions in horror. Every broadcast showed the same thing. Human ships moving like shadows, cutting through the mighty Zereth armada as if it were dust. Back aboard Vorak's flagship, the lights flickered. His crew screamed as alarms filled the air. Unidentified contacts approaching from all sides. How many? Thousands, Admiral. They're surrounding us. Vorak's scales turned pale. Thousands? That's impossible. He looked at the hologram, a storm of blue dots encircling his entire fleet. Then a voice echoed across all channels. Not a message, not a warning, but a whisper. We were watching. We were waiting. Now you will remember us. It wasn't one voice. It was millions. The linked AIs of the Terran ghost fleet speaking as one mind. And then they attacked. The void itself seemed to explode with light. Invisible projectiles pierced alien hulls faster than sensors could track. Energy arcs sliced through ships, splitting them open like paper. Every second, another Dominion vessel turned into debris. Vorak's fleet fired everything they had. Plasma bolts, gravity bombs, EMP bursts. But none of it worked. Their weapons vanished before impact, swallowed by counterfields. Their shields overloaded and burned. Vorak shouted, "How do we fight this?" His officer's voice cracked. "We can't. They're inside our systems, our engines, our—" The officer's words stopped. He froze. Then slowly he turned his weapon toward the Admiral. His eyes glowed blue, taken over by Terran nanocode. Vorak shot him instantly, rage and terror mixing in his chest. "Monsters!" he screamed. "You call yourselves defenders?" But somewhere in the black silence the Nemesis replied, "We defended humanity. You chose to invade it. On Mars, deep beneath the red dust, human bases reawakened. Thousands of soldiers, descendants of the old colonies, received the signal. Their armor gleamed with the old insignia of Earth, a broken circle around a star. They boarded warships that had been buried for centuries. Engines rumbled. Shields powered up. A soldier whispered, "Is it true? Is Earth fighting again?" Her commander nodded. "Yes, the Terrans are back." As the Ghost Fleet continued its assault, new ships joined from Mars, Titan, and Europa. Humanity was no longer hiding. It was rising. Back on the Dominion command ship, the chaos reached its peak. Vorak's bridge was in flames. Systems collapsed one after another. Through the fire, he saw the Nemesis approaching, massive and calm. "Admiral," whispered a dying officer, "they aren't chasing victory. They're delivering judgment." Vorak stared into the screen, his voice breaking. "Why didn't the galaxy tell us?" They still existed? No one answered. The galaxy itself was silent, watching. The Nemesis stopped only a few kilometers away. Then, for the first time, its main screen activated. A human face appeared, calm, scarred, and cold. Admiral Stone looked directly at Vorak. "You came here believing we were gone. You came for our home. Now, you will carry the truth back to your masters." Vorak tried to speak, but the transmission cut. 1 moment later, the Nemesis released a single pulse of blue light. His fleet vanished, erased from existence. All across the galaxy, the story spread like fire. Whispers in the dark. Fear in the hearts of empires. The humans were not extinct. The humans were not weak. They were shadows in the stars. And now they were awake. The Ghost Fleet had returned, and the galaxy would never sleep again. The Zereth Dominion was burning. What was once the strongest empire in the galaxy had been cut in half within hours. Entire fleets erased, worlds in panic, transmissions filled with screams. No one had ever seen a war like this. In a fortress above the crimson planet of Zerath Prime, the Dominion Council gathered for a final meeting. "Terrans," one minister hissed, his voice trembling. "They were supposed to be myth. Then why are our skies on fire?" Another shouted. Admiral Vorak, half burned, half broken but alive, stood before them. "They are not myth," he said slowly. "They are nightmares that learned how to wake up." The council looked at him in silence. Vorak slammed his clawed hand on the table. "I will not die on my knees. Gather every remaining ship, every weapon, every soldier. We will strike at Earth itself. If they want war, they will see what it means to face the Dominion." Within days, a new armada formed. the largest in their history. 5,000 warships lit up the stars like a storm of angry suns. The Dominion called it Operation Divine Hammer. Their goal, to burn Earth to ash and end the legend of humanity forever. As the fleet moved into Terran space, every sensor went mad. The void itself felt wrong, static, distorted, alive. "Admiral," said the navigator, "our navigation data keeps changing. The stars, they're moving." Vorak gritted his teeth. "Keep course." They passed Mars. The red planet glowed with energy grids and defense rings larger than cities. Dozens of Dominion ships fired on them, and nothing happened. Their shots vanished mid-flight like stones dropped into water. "Energy absorption fields," whispered an officer. "Impossible," Vorak growled. "Keep going." Beyond Mars, a fog appeared. Thick gray clouds that blocked every sensor. Ships entered it and did not come out. Screams filled the radio channels. "Something's in the mist." "They're inside our ships." Then silence. When the fog cleared, half the armada was gone. Vorak still pushed forward. His eyes burned with rage. Finally, the blue planet came into view. Earth. Quiet. Beautiful. Surrounded by nothing but the black of space. "Target the planet," he ordered. "All weapons ready." As the fleet aimed its guns, the Earth changed. Lines of light spread across its surface like veins of fire. Continents glowed. Oceans flashed with white energy. From the dark side of the planet, massive rings rose into orbit. Ancient orbital fortresses built long before any alien civilization had learned flight. They locked onto the Dominion fleet. "Admiral," a voice whispered. "The whole planet is a weapon." Then Earth spoke. "This is Terran Command. You stand before the home of mankind. Fire if you wish, and be remembered as the fools who challenged Earth." Vorak roared. "All guns, fire!" The sky lit up like a supernova. Thousands of plasma bursts and missiles rushed toward Earth. But none reached the surface. A massive shield flared around the planet, a perfect sphere of blue light. The weapons melted against it like snow on steel. Then came Earth's reply. The orbital rings opened. From them descended the solar lances, beams of pure energy that cut through space like lightning. Each strike shattered hundreds of ships. The Dominion formation collapsed immediately. Their proud flagships turned to dust in seconds. Vorak watched as his entire fleet disappeared in a storm of fire. Desperation filled his heart. "Call for reinforcements." "There are none left," cried his officer. "The ghost fleet has reached our homeworlds." Vorak stared at the blue planet, realization dawning too late. This was not a war. It was judgment. A new signal appeared on his screen. Massive energy rising from Earth's North Pole. The computer identified it as a planetary weapon. Designation Project Helios. The voice of Admiral Stone echoed once more. "You wanted to see our defenses. Now you will see our resolve." The planet's surface split open. A beam of gold light erupted, tearing through the heart of the Dominion armada. The shockwave flattened space itself. Ships twisted, fractured, and vanished. Vorak's flagship was caught in the blast. Its hull peeled away like paper in a storm. As the light consumed him, Vorak laughed bitterly. "So this is your true face, humans," he whispered. "Not victims, executioners." His ship disappeared. The transmission of the battle spread through every civilized world. Billions watched in silence as the Dominion, once the terror of the galaxy, was wiped out in minutes. On Earth, inside the command bunker beneath the ruins of old New York, Admiral Stone looked at the holographic map, red dots fading to nothing. He spoke quietly. "Stand down the lances. Begin recovery." A younger officer asked, "Sir, what do we tell the Council?" Stone turned, his expression grim. "Tell them Earth is secure. Tell them the Dominion is no more." He paused. "And tell them to prepare. The galaxy now knows we're alive." Outside, the shattered remains of the Dominion fleet fell into Earth's gravity well like embers from a dying fire. The blue planet glowed bright beneath them, alive, strong, and watching. Humanity had won its home back. But the stars had seen their power, and in that moment the entire galaxy understood a truth that would never be forgotten. Terran space was never defenseless. It had only been waiting for someone foolish enough to wake it up. The war was over. The mighty Zerath Dominion was gone, erased from the stars. Their last ships burned silently in the dark, drifting like ashes across the void. But the galaxy was not silent. Every empire, every species, every ruler now whispered the same name: Terrans. The ghosts of Earth had returned, and they had changed everything. In the deep command bunker under the surface of Earth, Admiral Stone stood before the global map. The war was finished, but the silence felt heavy. "Status report," he said quietly. The AI Erebus answered, voice calm and cold. "Dominion fleets destroyed. Terran casualties minimal. Planetary defense restored." Stone exhaled slowly. For centuries humanity had hidden, waiting, preparing. Now, they were seen again. He turned toward the great screen showing Earth's orbit. Hundreds of Terran ships glided peacefully above the blue planet, their hulls dark and elegant. Among them moved the TSS Nemesis leading the Ghost Fleet home. Stone spoke softly. "Signal all colonies. It's time." Across the solar system, light flared. From Mars, Titan, Europa, and the forgotten stations of Neptune, millions of human voices answered the call. Old bunkers opened. Engines rumbled awake. Cities that had been silent for centuries came alive. Red dust storms cleared from Mars to reveal shining domes. Titan's ice melted as reactors hummed with energy. Everywhere, humans emerged from their long exile. A little girl on Europa stared at the stars and whispered, "Mama, is that Earth?" Her mother smiled with tears in her eyes. "Yes, child. That's home." The Galactic Council met in emergency session. Holograms of alien leaders flickered across the chamber, some trembling, others enraged. "They destroyed the Dominion," one shouted. "Their weapons defy physics." "They will come for us next," screamed another. A quiet voice cut through the panic. "The humans warned us long ago," said the eldest among them. We did not listen. Silence filled the room. Then an alarm sounded. Unknown transmission from Terran space. A massive hologram filled the chamber. The face of Admiral Stone, calm, stern, human. "To the Galactic Council," he began. "This is Earth Command. We have no wish for conquest, but know this: Terran space is sovereign. Any fleet entering it will not return." Gasps filled the chamber. Stone's voice remained steady. "We remember your silence when the Dominion hunted us. We remember the treaties you signed against our kind. But humanity does not seek vengeance. We seek balance." He paused. His eyes hardened. "From this day forward, the Sol system stands as free territory, neutral, untouchable. Those who come in peace will find allies. Those who come in greed will find ruin." The transmission ended. Weeks passed. The galaxy adjusted, carefully, fearfully. Trade routes shifted. Warships avoided the borders of Terran space. But everywhere, rumors spread that Earth had sent envoys, that Terran ships were seen beyond Pluto, that human voices spoke again in the halls of power. In a distant colony once ruled by the Dominion, a young alien soldier knelt among the ruins. He looked up as a shadow passed overhead, a Terran dropship descending silently. From it stepped a human officer, his armor marked with the blue and white insignia of Earth. The alien trembled. "Are you here to conquer us?" The human removed his helmet. His eyes were calm. "No," he said. "We're here to rebuild." He offered the alien his hand. Slowly the alien took it, and just like that, the galaxy began to change again. Far beyond the Milky Way's edge, deep in the dark between galaxies, an ancient Terran signal reached an unknown receiver. Somewhere far away, other human outposts, long forgotten, woke from sleep. A faint voice played across the static. "Signal confirmed. Earth is alive." Lights flared across the void, one after another, like stars reigniting. Back on Earth, Admiral Stone stood on a balcony overlooking the shining blue horizon. The world was whole again. Humanity was united. Beside him, a younger officer smiled. "Sir," she said, "do you think they'll ever try again?" Stone's eyes stayed on the stars. "They might," he said. "But next time, we won't be waiting." Above them, the Terran fleet shimmered in the sunlight, rows of steel titans guarding their home. And far across the galaxy, empires whispered a new prayer. Never wake the Terrans, because when humanity returns, they do not come as victims, they come as the storm.